I have here special guests, and this is perhaps going to be my greatest interview ever. And I have so much respect for this gentleman, Thomas Deary. How you doing, sir?
Alexander, I'm doing great. So great to be with you today.
Awesome. And I want to say thank you for coming on the Alexander News Show. It is 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, February 6th on a Monday. And you know what? Let's first do the intro, and then we're going to talk about your new book, The Power
Sounds
of
good.
Potential. You go ahead and do the intro. Hey, I have some questions to ask you. I'm with the Alexander News Show.
Who are you?
Alexander Carlos, Alexander News Show. How you doing? I'm a Trump supporter. Welcome back. So that's the intro. Let me just get this out of the way real quick. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit bell for notifications. Like this. Please share. And by the way, are you okay if we do a little Spanish as well, Mr. Thomas Deary?
For sure. I don't speak Spanish, but you can do as much Spanish
Yes,
as you
definitely,
like.
because there's a lot of Spanish-speaking
Mhm.
people that are viewers of the show that would love to buy your book as well.
Awesome.
Gracias por escuchar el Alexander News Show. Por favor, suscríbete al canal Alexander News Show. Y, by the way, real quick, all our social, if you want to connect with us, everything's on the screen here. And also to support the show as well. And let me go ahead, and we're with U.S. Press Corps. All right? Estamos con U.S. Press Corps. Okay. So real quick, let's talk about your book here. Give me a second, because I'm managing everything here. I want to put your book on the screen. We're gonna discuss real quick here. Let me get this out of let me get the graphics out of here. The power of potential. How a non-traditional workforce can lead you to run a better run your business better. Sorry, and it's available on Audible, Amazon, Walmart, wherever books are sold. But I want to do the intro first. Let me get that going. Awesome. And you see the book
That
in
was
the
great.
screen. This is an exciting book. Is this your first book, by the way, you've ever written, Mr. Thomas
Yeah.
Deary?
Yeah, it's my first book.
Awesome. Tell me what inspired you to do this book.
Yeah. So, as your little video just showed, my family started a business called Rising Tide Car Wash as a means to employ my brother Andrew, who's on the autism spectrum. And we started in like 2012 when Andrew was getting to the point where he was graduating high school. And we set the goal early on of employing people with autism for 80% of our staff. And that really was a landmark decision for us because it guided everything else that we did. And over the years, in trying to make this business a successful, profitable business, we had to figure out how to empower individuals with autism to do great work, because that's 80% of our staff. So what we learned probably a few years into it was that we weren't really solving autism problems in how we were working with our team. We were really solving business problems. And our team members with autism were just really helping us identify some problems that go unnoticed in most organizations. And by designing for and with our team members with autism, we really learned how to build a better organization. And that's really what the book is about. How do you build a better organization through the things that we've learned, help you be more inclusive, help you get access to talent that you normally don't have access to, help you build a better brand and differentiate your brand in a market, and design the systems you need to scale your organization.
Incredible. Hey, so let me ask you this. What inspired the creation and opening of Rising Tide Car Wash, aside from what you mentioned?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Andrew was the initial inspiration, but when we started to look and see what he was going to be able to do with his life without our intervention, it became really clear really quickly that this wasn't just Andrew that was, having difficulty finding employment. Many people with autism struggle to find employment because most the way that most organizations hire and the way that most people look at autism is as a disability that requires sympathy instead of a really valuable diversity. And we wanted to build a business that could really show the capabilities that people with autism bring, people like Andrew and all of our other staff, the really wonderful talents and strengths that they bring to the workforce. So we wanted to build something that was, out in the public, that was consumer facing, and that's how we came up with the car wash.
So you have 80 autism individuals currently employed by Rising Tide Car Wash. That is incredible.
Thank you. Yes, they're a wonderful team, really a top-notch group of people.
You have 3 locations in Broward County, up in North Broward.
That's correct. Yep. Parkland, Coral Springs, and Margate.
By the way, very successful.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, so I wanted to get this. What is the best thing your father, John, has taught you in life?
Yeah. I mean, he's taught me so many, wonderful things over the years. I think the way he's taught me to persevere through difficult situations and continue moving forward, that's the greatest gift he's ever given me. He likes to say this quote that there's no magic, there's only hard work. And that's true. That's something that I've leaned on through my whole life is, things aren't necessarily going to go right away. You just have to keep working at it. And eventually you can come to some really wonderful outcomes that may look like, magic at the end, but really it was just a culmination of a lot of hard work.
Unbelievable. So what is it like for autism individuals to work at Rising Tide? What is it like? Share with me a story or something.
Yeah, for
with
sure.
The viewers too.
So, we aim to really build our organization around our team members, right? So we're trying to design systems, tools, and processes that work really well for our team. So I think, what we aspire to with our team members with autism and with really all of our team is that when they come here, they feel like they have a voice. They feel like if something isn't going well, they can speak up and we'll try to solve the problem for them. We'll try to use it as a learning opportunity for everybody in the organization, that we're going to hold people to the same standards, regardless if you have autism or not, right? We expect the same level of work and level of commitment and effort from everybody on our team. And a lot of times we find our team members, specifically our team members with autism, really rise to that occasion. And I think what we see, as someone who's not autistic, from the outside looking in, it really feels like there's a real peer group among our team members. They feel like they're part of a community that they may not have otherwise been part of in the past, where everybody shares, similar interests, have, maybe some similar life experiences because they're all on the autism spectrum. And, it's really cool.
Well, these are some facts, and I got this information. 85% of all unemployment among individuals with autism. You've employed in the lifetime of Rising Tide Car Wash, and correct me if I'm wrong, 180 plus individuals with autism have been hired. We mentioned that you have 80 currently now. 75 plus alumni with autism working at new jobs in the community. Right. Those are very impressive numbers. And before we go any further, please, let me give you the phone number. If you're a viewer and you want to text the show, please text 786-652-7240 or email the show, alexandernewsshow@gmail.com, or you can connect with us on our social media platform. We're also right now in podcast right now. So, Mr. Thomas Deary, my other question to you, sir, is what motivates Andrew? That's your brother. Let's talk about him.
Yeah.
To go to work every day to Rising Tide Car Wash. What motivates him?
Honestly, getting to make money. He wants to have some money so he can go and buy the things he wants to buy, whether it be food or he wants to go to Universal Studios. He loves going there. I think he definitely likes seeing me and seeing my mom and my dad. We all work together in this business. He certainly feels part of it. He feels a lot of pride in being the inspiration for the business. Whenever he does an interview, that's what he says, that I'm the inspiration for the business. So yeah, obviously he feels quite a bit of pride there. But I would say, on a day-to-day basis, he's coming here to make money like everybody else.
So with you and Andrew, what is the one thing, what's the one activity aside from working at Rising Tide that you and Andrew do together? That you constantly like, where do you go? What do you
Yeah.
guys both do together? Because you're like, obviously, I know, aside from being brothers, of course, best friends. What is it
Mhm.
that you do with him?
So I think the things. So we'll go to like Dave and Buster's. We'll go to Universal Studios. I'm going to bring him there again in April this year. And when my parents go away out of town, he comes. He stays with my wife and I. We we'll go out to dinner. He likes going to like BurgerFi and different restaurants and
Love
stuff.
BurgerFi.
Yeah, big BurgerFi fan. Umberto's Pizzeria is another spot that we go to together. Those pretty much the things that we like to do.
So share with me, what's the one? Share with me a passage of your book, a reading of your book that. Do you have a favorite one?
I think the chapter it's facetiously called that you don't fire your worst that you fire your worst employees. So the concept of that chapter is really that when an employee is struggling, most organizations tend to blame the person. It's easier for managers and for people to say, okay, well, this person is struggling and they are the problem. So it's not us, it's the person that is struggling. And, maybe sometimes that's true. Maybe the person isn't engaged, they don't want to do the work. But oftentimes it's that the business in some way is causing a problem for that individual. And when we try to take a step back and we try to understand their perspective and we try to hear why they're struggling, we often find insights into building our organizations better for everybody. And that's been a key practice that we've done over and over again, that we do regularly, and how we improve the organization. But it also has an additional benefit, is that when somebody is struggling in your organization, every organization has people that are struggling inevitably. By kind of taking that approach, it makes it a lot easier for people to be open and honest to the leaders of the organization when there are problems, because they know they won't be blamed, but that we'll collaborate on solutions together. So I think that to me is like kind of my favorite part of the book.
So, Mr. Thomas Deary, what's it going to take? And I'm going to get to the other part of the government, where I feel government should get involved
Mhm.
to get more businesses like yours. Because let's be honest here, you started this in 2012.
Mhm.
You are the example, you are the standard for hiring individuals with autism. Let's not make no mistake about that. There's no other business in South Florida that has the most individuals employed with autism. Or am I? I'll ask you the next question about special needs. But you have set the gold standard. What's it going to take for other businesses?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, government incentive stuff could be good. But I think more broadly, there's real value, right? There's real value in employing people with autism. And what we need is for other organizations to see that value. And that's, why I wrote the book, and what we really, our greatest ambition in the car washes is for other people who are maybe their business leaders to come through our car washes and see just really well run car washes, that with employees that are happy to be there, that are enthusiastic, that are trying their best, that are delivering great service. And there's so many organizations today that are really struggling to find really good talent, that are struggling to build their organizations in a way where they can scale the company and be able to differentiate their brand among many competitors. So we feel like this is a way, deliberately employing people with autism and other neurodivergences, that this is a really dynamic strategy to meet the needs of organizations. And I think if we can effectively get that message across, you don't need to have government incentives. That might be a nice cherry on top, but we don't want to send the message that uh, we need to we need to subsidize for some reason the employment of people with autism, because to me that kind of sends a message that it's an inferior employee, when it's really not. Our employees with autism, I take them over virtually anybody. And we do. I mean, we often have the opportunity to hire neurotypical people into roles, and we would much prefer to have our autistic employees.
Do you believe and this is a part I'm going to ask you about government. Would it be a good idea if government gave tax incentives to businesses that can employ autism individuals? And even, look, I'm a therapist by training, and I only not just work with autism individuals, but I also work with other special needs, including Fragile X.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's certain individuals with disabilities that unfortunately they just can't work. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of them out there that could work and they will do a great job. Do you believe that the government, I mean, even including at the local level, which they could if they wanted to, can get some kind of tax incentive to hire autism individuals? You think that would be good?
Well, there are some tax incentives, the work opportunity tax credits for anybody who's receiving vocational rehabilitation services. So we don't really get a lot of those. We get some, but nothing material. Um, I would say that it's useful, but I don't think that that will really solve the problem. I think what we really need is for organizations to want to do this because they believe that it will help the company.
Like nonprofits,
I guess. I mean, yes, potentially.
with the exception of UM Card's been wonderful.
Yes,
And they've worked with you at Rising Tide for
from
like
day
for
one.
what?
From day one,
They've been
before we
incredible.
even opened our first location, Card was involved. In fact, and we tell this story briefly in the book, but we really struggled when we first tried to run a proof of concept. We tried to test that this was going to work at a car wash in Homestead, Florida, and we didn't know anybody in the community. We were from New York at that point. We didn't have like deep roots in South Florida, and Dr. Alessandri and his team at Card went out and made contact with as many people on their and as many of their constituents in South Dade as they could in order to help us recruit in our first trainees. So we really wouldn't have gotten off the ground without Card. And they're just such an incredible organization that to have down in Florida. It's really a blessing to have them here.
No, they're great. And Dr. Michael Alessandri, a fantastic human being.
Absolutely.
He's awesome for the community of autism. So just to give credit, are there any other organizations in South Florida that have also stepped up and helped your Rising Tide
Yeah, I mean,
enterprise?
we work with a whole bunch of other community based organizations as well. What we try to do is work with any organization that has a community of people with autism, right? So we're trying to recruit really through those organizations. So Card certainly sends us candidates. The local school district, Broward County School District, is wonderful to work with. We work with
Okay.
Dan Marino Foundation a little bit. We work with ARC Broward a bit.
Dan Marino, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I'll be honest with you. I'm the only organization that I'm a big fan of
is Card, in my opinion, too. I mean, I love them all, but Card really sits above everybody else.
because I'm objective. I'm very objective, very critical of a lot of organizations in this town, and I'm not gonna get into that with you. I'm a big fan, of course, Rising Tide Car Wash. I actually believe you actually employ more and help more individuals with autism get jobs, and even if they don't last with your company, they go on and they move on to another company.
Right.
You do more than some nonprofits. Look, you don't have to admit it, okay? I can because I'm the talk show host, but that's the facts. Now, I wanted to ask you this: share another passage of the book with us, please, if you can. Can you share your second favorite one?
Yeah, I think, and what's probably most relevant to a lot of people listening is the way to rework the hiring process. So we immediately figured out, with our staff that traditional hiring systems weren't going to work well for our employees with autism. The way that most organizations hire is essentially a social test that inadvertently weeds out a lot of people with autism from jobs that they otherwise would be much more qualified for than often people who do get hired for them. So the whole first chapter is really kind of how we built a hiring system that's objective. And what I think the most interesting learning from that experience is that quickly we knew that we needed to change the hiring process for our neurodiverse employees, but we didn't realize we needed to for our neurotypical employees. And we had really painfully poor hiring results with our neurotypical employees for a while until we started to do the same things that we were doing with our neurodivergent employees, is that trying to build, really objective, clear, consistent ways of evaluating talent, whether that be through a structured interview or a work sample test or job auditions. Using these types of better systems really helped us improve our hiring for our entire team. So I think that, to me, that was a real aha moment. I think it speaks to what most people, whether you're on the spectrum or you're a family member or you're just working in this community, we experience that the way that we're evaluating talent, most organizations are evaluating talent, is ineffective for really getting to what's going to make someone successful in a role. And that's at the real detriment of a lot of people with autism.
The book is available on Audible, Amazon, Walmart. I don't have Target written there, but you can go to Target. Anywhere books are sold, and you can even get it. I'll even put it, you can probably even get it on eBay. Anywhere.
You can get it at Barnes & Noble too if you're a Barnes & Noble person.
Yes, absolutely. Really quick before we're done, I'm going to tell you something. I've had a lot of parents, and I'm going to mention them. You don't have to comment, but I'm going to mention them because remember, I'm critical and I'm very objective. Goodwill. Now, I don't know about now, but I'll say the last time I heard, a year ago, they have these tests that are very discriminatory. And there's individuals with autism that have gone there to try to get employment, and they were denied based on some of these tests, what you're talking about. And that is terrible. And Goodwill puts themselves out there like, we help disability individuals. We help individuals with special needs, autism. It's pretty disgraceful how they do the whole screening process. And there's another organization, I'm not going to mention their name. They claim to give employment to autism individuals or special needs. It turns out, and this is what parents have told me, and I'm also an investigative journalist as well. I've done my investigating. It's not so true. Now, would you like to comment about that? If do you have a comment? I mean, it's okay if you don't want to.
I don't
know
really
that your organization, what you're saying, should be like that. Because there's a lot of companies out there that are like Dollar General, Walgreens, Office Depot, and an individual with autism goes there and applies, and they get rooted out. They don't get hired because they don't do well in these screening tests.
Yeah. I mean, the pre-hire screening in a lot of organizations, I think inadvertently, not just people with autism though, but really, any barrier group, and a lot of times just groups that are, different work experience backgrounds, it can be very limiting.
Yep.
I don't have too much to say about Goodwill or any of the other organizations like that. We don't work with them, so I really don't. I wouldn't know either way. But I think that the general, we want to try to, and I think all organizations want to do this. We just kind of get in our own way sometimes, which is you want to have the broadest potential group of people that you can hire for a role. And in order to really do that in a meaningful way, it's to get to, well, what are the core things that we need someone to be able to do? And then we can train the rest. And if we design hiring systems that do that, we can generally be more inclusive.
Unbelievable. Thomas Deary, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, Alexander, this was wonderful, man. I hope people, if you pick up the book, you enjoy it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. The website is risingtidecarwash.com. You can reach out there. You can go to our social media on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. It's all Rising Tide Car Wash.
Thomas Deary, I want to say thank you for coming on the Alexander News Show. I know you have a very busy schedule. And again, ladies and gentlemen, let me put it one more time. The book, The Power of Potential, with Sarah Grace. Hope I'm saying it correctly.
That's my collaborator. Yep, Sarah Grace.
Yeah. How a non-traditional workforce can lead you to run your business better.
That's right.
Available on Audible, Amazon, wherever books are sold.